What's good, Ultimate Hoops? Pat Fridley.
Josh Martin.
And we're back with episode 4. So we had an exciting week 3 last week, Josh. 3 games, obviously 3 winners. Let's just to recap week 3 real quick. At 7:15, we had Payne get the win over Outcast, 77-68, single-digit win, closer than some might have imagined. We'll go a little bit more on these teams later. We're just gonna get the results out real quick. Kingdom Come in a blowout win over Velvet Thunder, 103-77, and Control Chaos with a nail biter over Ether in the last game, 70-68. So moving forward, let's go over the power rankings that have moved a little bit since this last week. Number 7, still Outcast, still at the bottom. They're now 0-2. You know, they did look almost impressive despite the loss. I want to say they almost looked, impressive, even losing to Payne. I mean, that game was a lot closer than a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
They seemed to maybe get their rotations together. They had some solid starters. They had, I would say,
was their full roster there that night?
About their full roster, but I was going to say they had noticeable go-to guys, maybe, if that's what you want to say. So things could still look up for them. I think they still got a lot of potential. Those are the champs, man. Payne, and they took it to them. Even with the 40+ point effort from Deshaun Dixon, I mean, Outcast was still right there. Notable performances from Outcast was Demetrius Davis. He had a 30-piece, game on a pretty good percentage. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I remember, he had an impressive stat line. Yeah, still at the bottom, but they got a lot to look forward to. Got a tough one with Chaos this week, but I don't know. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good showing by them despite the loss. Moving forward, number 6, New Star. I had to move them down a little bit, even though they didn't do anything. They had a bye week last week. The only reason I moved them down was so that Chaos could move up. So New Star was out of action next week. They will play Payne in week 4. So we'll go to that later. Number 5, moving up, as I said, Control Chaos. They're now 1-2.
Right.
They got the win over Ether. Pretty good showing by them. They only had 5 guys, and Ether had everybody, including Jaquan Anderson. So that's an impressive win right there. To only bring 5 guys and to edge out a team, a rivalry team to begin with, but that puts them up a spot. And like we said in previous showings and articles and whatever, Chaos doesn't stay at the bottom for too long. They're a perennial powerhouse team. They're always
3, top 4 teams.
Always, right? I mean, they're always in the discussion for championship finals. I would say all roads almost lead through Chaos one way or another. They're always there. They're always right there, semifinals or championship. So, and they've shown that much in the past. Donnell Rucker came back. Nice 24-point showing for him. He's obviously a big piece of their team, and now you get to see how strong they can be with their new additions. Big man Stuart Lagerson, man in the paint, 6'11" dude down there, coupled with Donnell, coupled with Damian Arnold. So they've got a nice core. They only had 5, and they still got the win. An undermanned team got the win over a fully rostered Ether, so that's a lot to ride home about. Number 4, Payne. Still, they got their win. That puts them 1-1.
Right.
Got the win over Outcast. That was a back and forth game.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was almost like just a whole bunch of one-on-one, which generally
right.
doesn't do well for a team. But I guess both teams were kind of playing the same way, so. They lucked out. I guess they had the better one-on-one showings. Like I said, Deshaun Dixon had his 40+ point, 49-point win or
Right.
49-point showing. Several points more than Demetrius Davis on the other side
Right.
with his 36, I think, points. But yeah, Payne got the win. Still 1-1. They didn't win convincing enough. And a win is a win. I'm not discounting the win. They didn't get a convincing enough win to move up in the power rankings, because I would have had to bump Velvet Thunder down, you know. And speaking of Velvet Thunder, they're number
They're
3.
coming in next.
Though they lost, they did beat Payne, which is why they're still ahead of them in the power rankings. And in the original standings, they're 2-1 now. They lost to Kingdom Come.
Yeah, you guys put a thumping on them last
Yeah,
week.
they didn't have.
I know they were missing.
They were missing Matt Khaled.
Right.
You know, he's a big factor. Elhad, big Elhad Emiralu has yet to lace him up. I hope he does. There's talks that he might not even be able to play, but hope he does. But if he does come back, you know, that's a big addition too. So I guess we're looking at it like, you know, they're not fully rostered yet. So you can't just. I mean, it was a big loss to Kingdom Come. That's a tough team, you know.
Yeah, the team
They added Chris Daniels. And we'll talk about Kingdom Come in a second, but they added Chris Daniels and had a big lineup, and you know,
dropping Darrell Norman.
you know, a 30-something point win from or loss.
Right.
You know, the Kingdom Come from Velvet Thunder. You know, they're still looking strong though. That's not to say that they're gonna have a bad season or anything. I mean, they're still one of the teams to beat for sure. You know, that puts them back just a little bit. They're 2-1. So they're still sitting at number 3. Number 2, we still got to go with Ether. It was a 2-point loss. And, you know, it could have been anyone's game, really. They just made maybe a couple of missed layups at the end there, maybe a couple turnovers, and then Chaos just kind of capitalized that, took it to the hole. You know, like I said, Donnell Rucker was a key factor in that win. But yeah, Ether's still 2-1. Still number 2 in the power rankings, you know, in my book. So. And last but not least, Kingdom Come, they're now 3-0, so obviously that puts them at number 1 in the power rankings.
Going into a bye.
Yep,
tomorrow.
Bye week next week, so not too much to talk about with them. Yes, looks like we added Chris Daniels. That's a big deal, obviously, literally a big dude, and he's a big deal. That honestly though, that just kind of masks the loss of a longtime, you know, Kingdom Come member Darrell Norman. You know, he's a huge loss. You know, a two-way swingman, kind of does it all, can guard just about all positions in this league at least, you know. And, you know, that's a huge loss. So I guess they break even when they pick up Chris Daniels. Missing Travis Matthews, you know, that game.
Yeah,
so
he rarely misses games for y'all.
yeah,
too,
so I guess you could say the Kingdom Come didn't have their full roster, but I guess on a night like that, it really didn't matter, you know. And Darrell showed out. This is the last game. More on him later, but you know, Kingdom Come comes in at number 1. So,
moving on.
Yeah, in my article, I come out with the corner 3 every week, and that's just 3 things to look forward to. Could be anything, but 3 things to look forward to in the coming week. I just kind of want to go over what happened in the corner 3 last week. 3 things I had to look out for. Number 1 was Outcast and their lineup, you know, their rotations. And what actually happened was it seemed like they got it together, almost. I mean, there was still a couple of disparities.
People upset about coming out.
Some guys I don't even think got in, and some guys tried to check in and were
told,
shunned
hey,
by their teammates.
Hey, not right now.
Yeah, not right now. That's what we'll go with. That's the quote. So I guess they haven't fully figured their lineups out, but I did see a consistent, you know, Demetrius Davis, obviously, was a go-to ball handler, scorer for them. The new guy, Hunter Kenyon, had a pretty good game down low. He's showing that he's a force down there, and he's a pretty solid player, you know, all the way around. So he was obviously someone they went to a lot. And, you know, Sam Epps, Chase, Corey. And actually, Corey, I believe, moved to the Payne team.
Breaking news. Well, if you guys haven't heard, Corey's no longer with Outcast.
Yeah, he wasn't cool with the vet minimum over there. So he moved on to once again take the vet minimum for Payne.
Right.
Shouts out to Corey. But yeah,
good luck on your success over there, Corey.
They you know, their lineup has been, their rotation is shortened a little bit, and that was one thing to look out for. You know, I wonder again, is because I think a guy or two maybe didn't show up this week, and I don't know if that's just because they're missing the game, or are they done, you know. And we hope that no one quits, but you know, could this be the case next week? Could they lose maybe another guy or two? You know, I understand they started with 11 guys. That's a big, you know, it's a big roster, and all 11 are expecting, you know, vast amounts of playing time. So It's always kind of.
Yeah, I know how the 11 main roster goes with White Walkers back in the day.
No one wants to sit on the bench,
Right. Right.
But hopefully they don't go from 11 to like 5. That just
Been there too.
that never right. And that's exactly talking about the White Walkers. That's what happened with your
Happened
team.
with us, that's
Y'all
right.
started with 11 or 12, and then y'all
Everyone left.
y'all started having 4 or 5 show up. A couple of forfeits there. So that's worst case scenario. We hope that doesn't happen, but that's how they responded.
Right.
The second thing to look out for last week was Darrell Norman's last game.
That's right, Darrell.
We were wondering if he was going to have a show out, Kobe Bryant-ish last game, or was he going to?
Numbers don't lie. It looks like they did.
Yeah, he ended up with a triple-double, 22 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, and 3 steals. Good enough for everybody to vote. That was the performance of the week. So he goes out on a good note, going to Phoenix. So Darrell, we're going to miss you. The league's going to miss you. You're a big impact
Right,
player,
Darrell.
but in true fashion, you showed out in your last game with a big team win. So that's how he responded to. I think I called it Norman's last stand in the article. And the last thing, number 3 that we wanted to look at was how was Control Chaos going to do in their first game without their captain? Will Lombardi had been their captain every season, every game until then, and how are they going to do without him? Well, they showed up with 5. They came together and pulled off their first win of the season against a championship contending team in Ether. So I'd say they did pretty well without Will. So obviously his culture, his influence was left standing with Chaos. So shout out to Chaos. It looks like y'all are going to be just fine even without your fearless leader. So yeah, week 4 coming up. We got 3, good-looking games here. Kingdom Come being on the bye week. So besides them, it's time for a preview here. 7:15, we got Outcast and Chaos. Josh, what do you think is going to happen?
That game, Chaos, from what I saw last week at the scores table with Chaos and Ether playing, with Chaos, Control Chaos, even though they only did have 5, no subs, looks like they're never really out of a game. Like you mentioned, they have their bigs there. I think it's gonna go neck and neck. I want to see who Outcast brings out. Should be a good game though. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. It's only been 2 games for Outcast, but they've shown every time that they've gotten better. So I would expect them to have an even better showing, in week 4 than they did in their first 2 weeks. So, it's exciting for them. They've got nowhere to go but up at this point. But they were, like I keep saying, they looked pretty impressive against Pain. And if they can play like that, on a nightly basis, they're definitely going to rattle off some wins at some point this season. Chaos, on the other hand, can't seem to get their full roster together, but we know how strong Chaos is when they do have their full roster. I mean, they're pretty good even without it. So I would say it's a close game, but that's not my call, Josh. These are your picks, Josh's picks. So for that game, who do you got and how much you got them by?
Josh's picks for Outcast versus Control Chaos 7:15. I have Control Chaos by 6.5.
So by 7.
By 7.
All right, you got Chaos by 7. Okay. At 8:15, we've got Pain versus New Star. This one looks to be a good one. We got several guys on Pain and New Star. Well, at least one on New Star. That's Sean Dockery. And they all train together in the morning.
They do.
Several drills.
Every morning.
Game situations, and they play together at lunchtime with Josh Linson, Deshaun Dixon. Some of those got Jarrett. If he shows up for Pain, I don't know if he hasn't yet. I don't know if he still plans on it, but if that's the case, you got, I guess you call them the Breakfast Club, a game between the Breakfast Club members. You got the players versus the trainer. So, but it's rumored that New Star is bringing out Fabio.
He did tell me he was actually going to play tomorrow.
Fabio Texera, big Fob, coming out. Should be making his winter debut tomorrow. And if he comes, man, that's a big deal.
Oh, it's a game changer.
I want to see. I'm excited to see how New Star plays with the full roster. If they bring him out, plus the guys that they've already added, the Jake Schifani, added Sean Dockery to go along.
Sean Dockery is going to appreciate Fabio down there.
With Chris Molina, and that's a good-looking team right there. I want to see how that pans out. On the Payne side, these guys are looking to put up numbers. That's kind of their style of play this season. What do you think is going to happen?
So with Payne and New Star, I think size is going to be too much for Payne. I know Abram is a big piece for Payne there, but if they bring Fabio and then they're bringing Jake down, so I'm going to go with the win for New Star at 8:15. It's a close one by two. So by 3.
By 3? New Star by 3?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Apologize too.
All right. Yeah. If 5 comes, that changes your game plan. Anytime you play against a big guy, look for Payne to go in a zone, with a 2-3. But at the same time, with a big guy, you can play a zone. My team, Kingdom Come, found that out in a good way last week. 2-3 finally looked somewhat decent when you plug a 6'11" dude in the middle. So look for New Star to probably capitalize defensively on that, and they might force Payne to play them in a zone, which is good for shooters, and it kind of opens some things up. So this might be a zone versus zone game. Kind of exciting there. At 9:15, we've got Velvet Thunder
another good one. Yeah.
versus Ether. Hopefully everyone's there on both sides. Hopefully Matt Khaled can come back for Velvet Thunder, and hopefully Jaquan and all the rest of them, Devin, Preston, PJ, Pete. Hopefully they're all there for Ether, because I want to see what these two look like. This is a great season talent wise. I mean, we've got everybody's stacked, so I want to see what these two powerhouses look like against each other. This looks to be a good defensive game. I want to say both teams have the personnel to match up defensively with the others. So Dan, I'm sure, has already been working on this game plan. I know who he's probably looking at shutting out. He's probably talking about not leaving Johnny open and not letting Justin get good looks. That's kind of his whole thing is which one to take away. That kind of seems to be a Dan Gilbert game plan. He's always looking at who to take away looks from. So, and then Velvet Thunder, man, they just get up and down and they play. They do. Big E, been a big guy for them. I would want to see that matchup between him and Jaquan. If they're both there, hopefully they are. And then their backcourt of Justin and Johnny, and they're looking good, man. They're looking good. But who do you got?
Josh's picks at 9:15. Velvet Thunder versus Ether. Dan Gilbert and all of them, I'm sure, and Augustine are going to be pumped up for this game. Both team captains on their respective teams. I have Ether squeaking this one out by 4. So 5. Let's say 5. 4.5.
You tell me
4.5.
what you want, and then I'll tell you what it is. You
It's
tell me 3, I'm going to put 2.5 because that's 3.
Right.
If you tell me 3.5, I'm going to put 4.
We'll squeak it out Ether by 4.
Okay, so I'm going to put 3.5. That's how spreads work.
Right, exactly.
You can't wear the Vegas shirt
I know, and not
know how spreads work.
That's right.
All right, so you got Chaos, New Star, and Ether as the winners of Week 4. Yep, so that about will do it for this week. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Preview should be up by now. Watch out for the Corner 3 as well. And have fun with this next part. See y'all later.
What's the next part?
Enroll. Get a lefty in there. Get a lefty in there. Yep.